lot of changes with. I don't think I've talked to you since I found out about it, but did I tell you that Solutions closed?
Yeah, you told me that they were gonna. That
Yeah.
was where you were running the show over there.
Yeah, I was running the show.
Yeah.
I was doing a meeting at Solution, and the land got sold.
Mm-hmm.
So whoever owned that land, there's a lot of development going down in that area. So I assume that they apparently got a price for the land that you couldn't pass up and sold it, and there'll probably be apartments going in there.
Right.
But yesterday was the last day. Like I went to the meeting on Sunday. It was like a speaker meeting. Went to that one. That I thought that was going to be the last meeting, but then they had a meeting.
What is a speaker meeting? Is where everybody kind of like when we go celebrate your anniversary.
No, where
that?
one person comes in and talks and gives their story as a speaker.
As a person that travels around,
It's usually just
kind of high up.
No, it's nothing like that. Like I've done it. I've gone up there and
okay.
you just give your story, your story of experience, strength, and hope.
Right.
For other people to hear and stuff. But as of today, 1,237 days.
Congratulations.
So that's 3.38 years, 40.58 months, 29,682 hours.
This, do you watch Stranger Things at all?
Nope.
David Harbour, who was on there, you'll know him, but I can't think of what he was in. But he's a new Hellboy, that guy.
Oh, okay.
He's in AA.
Oh, is he?
And
cool.
Dax Shepard is in AA.
Oh, I didn't know Dax was.
And Dax Shepard will be like talking to people like, well, I've been sober for 13, 14 years, and so they were talking, and all of a sudden David Harbour's like, I am too, but we're kind of, aren't we not supposed to talk about this? And Dax is like, I don't give a fuck. Like,
yeah,
I would rather talk about it and get people to, help 5 people if I'm talking about it.
I'd much rather be open about it.
Yeah.
And have somebody ask me about it and have them to be able to help that. Like even like my boss at work, because Sandy's worked there for so long, he knows my whole past and stuff like that. I worked last Saturday, just because we were doing a big changeover, and he came up to me afterwards and was like, hey, I've got this thing with my brother and his girlfriend and blah blah blah. Would you what would you say in this situation? And I'm like, it comes down to not enabling people.
Yeah.
I'm like, you can't, your brother can't, you can't, whoever, whatever it is, there can't be an enabling thing. And I told him, like, Sandy told me straight out, like, okay, you went to rehab, it didn't do shit, you're still drinking, you're lying, you're doing everything, you're going to do this is it. If this doesn't work out with you going to Solution, you can't come back here. You can't move back in here. My parents were like, no, no coming to us for money, no coming out to us for a place to live.
Yeah.
So I was hitting my bottom.
Yeah.
I was losing my place.
Can I make a sex joke? Hitting your bottom?
Ooh.
But, no, right. Power bottom.
Power bottom, exactly. But anyway, no. So I was doing the Tuesday morning meeting at Solution, and Tuesday was the 31st. So I thought that was going to be like the last early bird meeting. And there were still people, my regular people, that were showing up for it and stuff. And then last Tuesday, not yesterday, but last Tuesday, I walked in there, and Jerry was there, this crazy drunk that always, comes to my meetings. And he was like, this is it. This is the last one. I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, because nobody else had been doing Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, or any of the other morning meetings. It was just some girl did Mondays and I did Tuesdays. Mm-hmm. And he's like, this is it. They're not going to, you're not going to do another one on Tuesday. They're not going to have an AM meeting next week.
Yeah.
So that was the last one. And then I think Joe, my friend Joe, had his home group there, and that was the very last meeting last night, but it's completely all closed out. I went in there. I met Joe over there on Saturday because he was going through like one of the closets had toolboxes or different things like that, and the people told him like, yeah, if you want to go through any of that and take any of that stuff, you can. I'm like, I wanted to get something from the meeting hall as a way of remembering Solution, and they had up on the walls these 5 different things. One was like think, easy does it, let go, let God, just different sayings from
yeah.
AA, and I got the one that said easy does it. So
Yeah.
I got that, and I'm going to put that up in my room and stuff like that. And then when we went back in there, that was Saturday night at like 6 o'clock. I went back there on Sunday at 6, you know, for the speaker meeting. Everything was gone.
Wow.
All the stuff, like people like picked it clean. So
Yeah. No, well, and what's interesting with that is she might want out. Is the David Harbour and Dax Shepard was saying.
David Harbour, I gotta write that.
David Harbour knew a lot about like all the history of. It's probably in the book. Like I didn't know this, but he's like, he goes, didn't Bill go to Carl Jung, who's a psychologist as famous as the other one, who's the famous Carl, not Carl, who's the other one? The guy who not Nietzsche. Who's the guy with if you smoke a cigar, it's a
Freud?
phallic thing. Freud. So he's as famous as Freud. Carl.
Okay,
Jung.
so what's this guy's name now?
So David Harbour. He's an actor and he's alcoholic. HARBOUR. And
I'll look him up.
so
Because
he
I heard they're coming out with another Hellboy, so
and he said that he said people look at that and they're like, man, he got ripped. He goes, that's all I know. I may be telling you, but that's all prosthetics. He goes, the difference is they said we could paint your body and you could take months more to work out and try to get this way. And painting your body would take 6 hours, or you could be in the chair for maybe 2 hours and we do this. And he's like, okay, then let's do that. So
nice.
But
like Chris Hardwick, you finish your what you were saying.
Chris
about.
Hardwick too is alcoholic.
Well, and then I wanted to get into the social justice warriors on him.
Oh my
Jesus.
God! Oh, don't get me started.
Yeah, let's get started.
So I know. We will. I've been waiting. So they were talking about Carl Jung. One time he went to him. He said, "Look, what can I do, kind of psychologically?" Bill's going, Bill, for anybody who doesn't know, the founder of AA, whatever. And he goes, there's nothing you can do. Like, you can't fix that. It's not a mental thing that you can do. And so he's like, here's just, you need to do it this way.
Yeah.
And then somebody else, they said, had offered, like, I want to give you, like, thousands of dollars. Or maybe he told Young, like, they want to give me like $100,000, something like all this money to start this up.
Right.
And he goes, no, you bring money into it. And
you
fail.
can't. Yeah.
And then he said, that's why there's a rule. When you die, you can only bequeath, or is it bequeath? Is it TH or F? You can only bequeath like 300 or 150, 200, like low. Like you can't bequeath my whole estate, like they won't take
to
it.
AA, really?
Yeah.
I don't even know that.
Yeah,
wow.
and so it was like, so Dax Shepard's like, really? Oh shit. Well, maybe
Yeah,
they should wait to see what.
But
I'm
it's
gonna
like
give.
like they say, like you take donations, when the meeting and stuff, because AA is not allied with any sect, denomination, politics, or organization, does not wish to endorse any causes or promotion, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Because just like somebody can't pay me. It's non-professional. You can't pay me to take you through the steps.
Yeah. They can't.
Because it won't work that way.
Yeah.
You have to be willing to do the work. And the only way that I can stay sober is by freely giving away what was given to me.
Yeah. And the same thing that you said about the brother and the friend of your boss is the thing that I told you where my aunt... We were at a party for my cousin, who was, she's my older cousin, and she's Bridget's stepmom, and she drank a lot, like heavy alcoholic. And everybody told Patsy, my aunt, who was a recovering alcoholic, can't you talk to her and make her straighten out? And she's like, no, I can't.
Yeah.
She goes, I can try to. Like, we'll sit down. And it was the most uncomfortable thing. We're sitting on one couch. She's on the other with somebody else.
Oh, my God, like a
drinking.
fucking intervention or something.
And she was like, look, maybe you should stop drinking. No, fuck you. I'm going to drink what I want to drink, and I'm the way I am. Okay. And she goes, I can't help her.
Yeah.
She needs to help herself before I can do it. And that was something else that came into Dax Shepard and David Harbour, and then remind me to tell you about celebrities. And then we'll get on social net thing. So... he says they talk about Dax Shepard said, you can know the bullshit as soon as the person starts talking. Like, right away.
Yep. I know when somebody's putting on
a front or whatever.
And there was a guy at the meeting on Sunday that was just like, yeah, it was just super gung-ho, and then they were like 24-hour chip, and he went up and he's like, I'm just getting this to remind me of where I was. It's like, what?
It's like,
and then he was at 5 months, he wanted to get a 5-month chip too, and they're like, well, no, we don't do 5-month chips. It was just like, you're trying you're trying too hard.
Well, and even David Harbour was saying when he was in Green Hornet with Seth Rogen, and he said he was sober before that for like 13 or whatever. He's 24 or whatever. And then he said, it's not his fault. And Dax Shepard's like, no, I'm going to say it's Seth Rogen's fault. But he's like, they were smoking a lot of pot. And they were like, it's not addictive. You can smoke it. Like, it's cool. He's like, oh. He goes, but addictive personality, next thing I know, I'm doing it like all the time. And I'm getting the edibles. I'm getting everything. And he goes, and I'm doing that. And he goes, and then I was like, I got to go to a meeting. And he said, I went to a meeting, and I was talking about all the time I lost. And he said, and this guy who was in there, he goes, and it was kind of like an actory group.
Right.
And Dax is like, yeah, that's where I'm going. I go to a house tonight at 6. Like, I go to this house, and we all hang out, and we talk. And he said, so it was an actory thing. And he goes, one of these old guys was like, oh, you're just talking about days. Oh, kid, listen, kid. Like, he's an older, like, kid, you don't know what you're talking about. And he's like, and he goes, and I was like,
this isn't a pissing
fuck?
contest.
And and he was like, he goes, so I was kind of like, wow, I really, like, I already feel bad. Now this guy made me feel worse. He goes, I'm not going to tell who he was or whatever. And Dax was saying, like, that's not right. And he goes, everybody at that meeting came to me individually later and was like, hey, man, don't listen to that guy. That guy's a jerk. Like, you're doing good.
Yeah.
Like, we understand. Like, you lost all those
you're
days,
putting on
all that time.
That guy's putting on a front because he's probably still getting fucked up.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, no, you're doing good. And but then the thing about my wife, so it's funny. So I go, oh, honey, guess what? I listen to Dax Shepard or a celebrity podcast. Honey, guess what? Did you know that Ray Liotta was adopted? And he doesn't get along with his, they reached out to him, like he reached out to his original parent, his mom, and she's like a loser, white trash, and da-da-da, and he doesn't give a shit about him, and she's like, do you ever, and then after that, then I'm like, David Harbour from Stranger Things, he's an alcoholic, and he's recovering, he's a real cool guy, like, oh, and Dax Shepard, and, here's what...
the guitarist for Megadeth,
and,
like... not Dave Mustaine, but
the other guy.
Whatever. Yeah,
the other one.
he lives here in town. He's always at the meetings.
Yeah,
and stuff.
Oh, that's cool. But yeah,
he does not look like he looks like a white trash.
Oh yeah,
like
he looks like
black
anybody.
Megadeth shirts, like beer belly. Not beer belly, but he's in his 50s at this point or whatever now. Or older. So. But
that's funny. No, but tell her
he's hardcore into the program.
But I'll tell her, that's great. I'll tell her all about, oh, guess what? Like, I'm naming all these, oh, I listen to Mark Maron talking to Mila Kunis. Mila Kunis says her and Ashton are Jewish, and she's like, do you read anything other than celebrities? Like, is there anything, like, these people aren't your friends. You know that you heard them in your ears on a podcast that they're talking to somebody else. I said, I know, but that's why I like it, because a podcast is more just people opening up and talking, and so I go, so she makes fun of me. I go, I know other stuff, because she'll ask me like, what's that?
What's
thing?
the square root?
Well, no, but she'll ask me like, what is this? Like a garrote. Like when we were watching one of the murder shows on Dateline, it was like, took a garrote and killed this person. She's like, what is that? And I go, 2 sticks with a wire, and you put the wire. She's like, how do you know that? I go, I looked it up probably in a movie.
Yeah.
Things that I learn are either in movies or whatever.
Right.
And then I go, oh, okay. So she was like, oh, okay. But then, so before we get to the Chris Hardwick thing, there was a thing that leads us into this social justice bullshit. Fucking, I'm so angry. There was a movie that was going to come out called Rub and Tug that Scarlett Johansson was going to be in. She was playing a transvestite.
Oh,
it was a
I
guy
heard about
who turned
this,
into a girl. So it was a transvestite who was originally a woman, but then played as a man. And so she was going to do it. and I was like, and owned like all these massage parlors and started dealing with the mob. And I was reading this story like, wow, that's really cool.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden you read that, oh, but then people start getting up in arms because you're not having a transgender person do it. You're having Scarlett Johansson do it, and
Who's
that's
a
not right.
Major actress.
And so then there's twofold of that. One is, okay, nobody's going to go see this movie if you put just
a no-name transgender person.
Transvestite transgender person in there. The other thing is that now that project won't get made because Scarlett Johansson now has said, okay, then I'm out, and get somebody else. And now you know that project won't get made. Well, and
didn't she say something?
I think from
she
what
made some comment.
Chip told me, she said like Victor Victoria was, Julie Andrews.
Yeah, she
like all these.
I thought
people
she said
in
she
history.
made a comment about like, I'm an actress, or it's about being something, and then all these fucking guy.
Well,
oh my god, like political correctness was bad.
Yeah.
But now it's like,
well, and
what the fuck is wrong with you people?
It's the same thing with, it's the same guy that was doing that movie as the same guy that did The Ghost in the Shell.
Mm-hmm.
So already they got shit for that because Japanese person, now she's white. What are you doing? You're whitewashing.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, the thing with now James Gunn from, write some shit
he
years ago, like 10 years ago.
Oh, was it years ago?
Yeah.
I thought it was recent.
No, it was years ago. He wrote some
And they said
tweets.
that his sense of humor, he has a very dark sense of humor.
Yeah.
And they're like, these tweets are very reflective of his sense of humor.
Yeah. Yeah, and also, like, he's even explained, he said, I was a different person back then than I am now. He said, then I was just saying shit to push the envelope.
You have to, like, anything that you do now, you have to, if you go into any political field and in any limelight, you have to be like, hey, you know what? I apologize for, when I was 12, 13 years old, I masturbated when I was going through puberty. And I'm sorry if I victimized any of the women in the Penthouse magazine that I jerked off to.
Yeah, Shawn Hansen for president.
Yeah, please.
Yeah. No, yeah, exactly. And it's whoever's going back now. So now we can go back on Twitter and Facebook and then be like, oh, because I told Danielle, I go, well, then I guess good thing I'm not a celebrity because I'd be in trouble for my O.J. Simpson video game and my Adolf Hitler video game that I want to make. And she was like, oh, my God. But
together?
But
no, that's in part two.
Yeah, I'm like, no, Hitler chases him in the Bronco. And then but yeah, and then the Chris Hardwick thing, the story that came out, I don't know the full story, but that whole thing is the woman then reached out to him later because she wanted to get back with him, and he was like, no.
Well, no, and like, what I understand is it was this girl, Dykstra or whatever. Mm-hmm. They were dating, and she's with somebody else now, and she wrote
a blog.
Yeah. And he pinned it to his Twitter, and then because of they run in similar circles that it got out, blah, blah, blah. And AMC just fucking, all these places just jumped on it like, oh, he did wrong, he's done.
Yeah.
And people like, too, that he married into the House or something like that. The Hearst, which is like a huge media family. And they're like,
well, they used to be back in the day. But
I'm sure they have fucking whatever. That's what they're saying is that he would be fine anyway. He's got a ton of money. Plus, they've got the connections to do whatever.
Yeah.
But now she's even come out, like the most recent thing was like after he got reinstated on AMC and stuff, she came out, she's like, I didn't want any of this to happen. The people that are close to me that I wanted to know the truth know my story, know the truth. And like this one guy was like, if you look up the quartering or whatever on YouTube, and he's like, if you didn't fucking, for one, if you wanted to take it all the way and help other women who had been through this, then you take it all the way and you fucking put out the evidence that you say you have.
Yeah.
If you just wanted the people to believe you, that you wanted them to believe you, then you take it to them directly and leave it out of the fucking media.
Yeah.
Instead, you and the timing of it when his show is just coming up for renewal for the second season. Yeah. The second season
the
was
wall
about to start.
Was going. He had the game
Comic-Con,
show, like everything.
All this stuff was going on. You timed this perfectly to fuck him.
Well, and on the other end, it's the media who then won't say, nobody did any investigation.
Right.
They just
They
said,
just-
this woman wrote a blog, let's go with this blog.
Yep.
And it's like, that was her side of the story.
There's no fact checking. There's nothing. And then they came back and she even said something about the tweets, like, oh, the tweet or the text messages were taken out of context and they were arranged anyway. And they're like, no, there's timestamps on them. It showed the back and forth. And then that you were trying to get back together with him and he didn't want to get back together with you.
Yeah.
Why, if somebody was this abusive and this controlling, why would you, and you're away from the relationship, you're out of it, and you cheated on him, why would you want to get back together with them? You're gone. You're away from it.
Yeah.
It's just like, I don't get it that, and it's like, I remember hearing, what was the one where it was the army where they were over in Iraq or something like that, and it was the guy, the comedian who is in government now.
The Stuart Smiley.
But how he apparently, some girl was sleeping and he went over and made a motion over her chest like he was cupping her boobs.
Picture.
And took a picture. He resigned then from being in politics.
Well, same thing Kevin Spacey 40 years ago.
Kevin Spacey,
right. Well, there's other things, but
and if you're using your instinct to be with underage,
right,
or
boys,
whatever.
Yeah.
But he just was like, he stepped away and just was like, I'm not going to answer for this. And
it's like, well, in a way you go, okay, I did wrong, but then like James Gunn, like you said, like he already has 3 written. He's ready to go into production, everything.
Mm-hmm.
So all that cast was like, no, and all the fans were like, what the hell? Like, and he was even like, no, I was saying shit to get a rise out of people, to make people laugh. Like, I don't believe in all that. It was just some stupid shit that I said.
And who I was fucking 4 years ago was very different than who I am today.
Yeah.
There's... I don't know. I don't get it. It's like anything from your past can come up and fucking...
Yeah.
And it's just like... I don't know. Yeah, it's just... It's like... There's some things that, like, okay, fucking Bill Cosby. Yeah, that shit's in your past. You answer for that shit because you fucking purposefully hurt people.
Yeah.
If you're saying stuff to get a rise out of it, and if Chris Hardwick, if he truly was and did that kind of stuff, then yes, then he needs to pay for that. But to condemn and burn him at the stake without having any just cause or any coming other back proof from it at all, it's like, no, that's bullshit. And anymore, it's just the social justice warriors can fucking do any, and look at like they were talking about with fucking Star Wars, how they're like, oh no, the this and that, and there's a fucking in Solo, there's an android who its description says that it's for the ethical rights of treating androids in the universe.
Well,
I'm like,
I saw the movie though, and because we talked about that before, and then when I saw the movie, it's more as it's a joke, but it's also like she's like, like you have those little robots that drive around. They have the robot wars. So 2 robots are fighting, and everybody's throwing money. And she comes in. She's Lando's co-pilot. She comes in. She's like, "What's going on here?" And she's like, "Don't you guys want justice? Why are you guys doing this for these people? Come on, everybody." And they're like throwing shit at her, like, "Shut up," because they want to see the fight.
Okay,
so it's
that's funny.
But yeah,
but still, I heard that Princess Leia, or Carrie Fisher, is going to be in the next Star Wars movie.
Yeah.
They're using rehashed footage that she's already filmed.
Yeah, they had filmed stuff, and I think they were going a different way with the story, so they're going to go ahead and try to end it in a good way, because if they ended it, with her stuff now, it'd be like, no, come on. Wow. But like somebody was saying, was it Ralph Garman or Kevin Smith were saying what would have been good if you could have had, because the schedules were all separate, so you had Leia and Han together in that first movie and Chewie, but you didn't have Luke until the second movie. So if you would have had them all 3 on screen together at just for one moment, it would have been like the Avengers when they're all together. Like, oh, cool. But, they never did that. But yeah, it's the stuff with the where they just like like you said, the Harvey Weinstein,
Yeah, that
and
kind of
Bill
stuff.
Cosby, that's
like Anthony Bourdain. I
Yeah.
heard more about that. Like he was dating that girl, and he was like defending her, all this stuff. Like was like put up stuff like when Weinstein.
Oh yeah, when that happened.
And all this stuff. Well, she apparently there was photos taken of her with some writer or columnist guy in Paris or something like that. And there was things of her and him holding hands at dinner and dancing and hugging and kissing. And they were trying to get those pictures from stopping to be published or whatever, but they were going to be published anyway. And then she, about that time, like he stopped following her on Instagram and all this stuff. And then she wrote a thing on Instagram about like, this is wrote something on her Instagram like, and you know who you are or something like that, and they suspect that it was about to Bourdain, and then like 4 hours later Bourdain killed himself.
I thought it, but before that though they were fighting against somebody else that she had that done to, right?
What, the Weinstein thing?
The girl that he was like, I thought it was when the Weinstein stuff first came out that she was like, yeah, that happened to me, and he was kind of behind her on.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah,
but the thing I didn't understand about, like, and I found out like later on when this other stuff came out, I guess Penthouse actually did an article about it where they lay it down. You can pull it up and see what the information is. But she dated Weinstein for years.
Wow.
Afterwards.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, wait a second. You're coming out and doing the Me Too thing, and that you were victimized, but you dated him for years.
Yeah.
Wait, well, I don't get this.
Well, and that's where even a lot of people, in a way, like Ashley Judd came out and said, yeah, that happened to me with Weinstein. But the thing with Ashley Judd that a lot of people are upset about is she didn't tell anybody else. She kept that in until people were like, hey, guess what? And she's like, oh, yeah, I knew about that. I knew he was doing it. And they were like, well, then why didn't you say something? But you rode that. You were famous for a while. You rode that. But, yeah, it's just ridiculous. But now let's go on to some lighter things, like some dreams that I had.
Okay, cool.
So I don't know if I told you this dream, because I think we've always been all over the map sometimes. So I had two different dreams. This one was, I'm just going to read it because I wrote it down after I had it. I had a dream the other night that I was in a fancy apartment, and I was talking to these two other guys that live there. Suddenly, we saw some guys getting out of their cars coming up the stairs. The two guys told me that I needed to hide quick. We looked around for a good place for me to hide. I found a small cabinet that was maybe 4 foot deep by 2 feet high and maybe 2 or 3 feet wide. It was down at the bottom, like where the dog cage is there by the ground. It was like that big, and I was going to have to climb in there and close the cabinet. And I was just thinking, like, there's no way that I can stay still in this small little confined space. Like, I'd want to kick the cabinet door open. Like, I started freaking out. So then I started to overthink it. I was freaking out because I would be jammed in there, and I didn't know for how long I would be scrunched up. That freaked me out so much that I woke up. I was just like, no, I can't. And they're like, get in, hurry up, get in. And I'm like, no, I can't. Then the other one I had, and this is because
my God, what was that? Did
think
you have a fear of being compartmentalized?
Well, it's fun. That's funny. I think part of it was because I think sometimes, too, when I interviewed that tunnel rat, and you were like, oh, my God, like you're in a tunnel and you have a gun, and like, no way. And so I always think, like, I don't think I'm claustrophobic, but then, and and this also came up because of those people that were trapped in the cave.
Oh, the soccer kids. Yeah.
And it was like, and
for weeks
I was watching Scott Eastwood on the Running Wild with Bear Grylls, and he goes, okay, we're going to go down into this cave now. Instead of going over these rocks, we're going to go down into this cave. And he goes, but I don't know how far it goes. So they get down to the one inside there. And
underwater?
Then he goes, no, just in a cave. And then he goes, now throw this over the edge to see how, because it's totally dark. So got the green vision. They can't see anything. So then they throw it down there and they wait. And it's like a long drop before they hear a noise. And then he's like, okay, Scott, I'm going to send you over there. I'm going to lower you down. We don't know where this goes, but I think it goes out there because I can feel wind, and there's got to be another spot. So they drop down there. Then they have to go, and it's narrowing and narrowing as they're crawling. And I'm like, no. Like, at a certain time, you would freak out when your chest...
I'm
when your
freaking out
yeah.
just thinking about that. Just
Scott,
imagining it.
And so when they get out of there, Scotty was like, oh, fresh air. Like, they're out in the open. It's like, oh, my God. So I think I was watching that, and I was just like, no. Like, and Danielle was like, yeah, I would be like, no, we're going over or we're going around. I'm not going under.
I'll go through.
Yeah.
You know,
Well,
they
tried to go through. Well,
No,
yeah, through. Yeah. Then I had one, and this is because, so we're going to see Last Podcast on the Left, and I was like, oh, I wonder if I should get...
Oh, shit, that's this month now. It's August 1st.
August 17th, yeah. And I said, I wonder if I should get some drinks or something, to get a beer over there or whatever, and da-da-da. And then I think, like, where are they going to go afterwards? Like, should we go look for what bar they're going to be at, you know, whatever, because they always talk about that. And then I'm like, but Shawn's with us, and I shouldn't be there, maybe not, you know. So
I'm not going to stick around for that anyway. I'm going to go home and go to bed.
I
You
know.
and Joe can go have a great old time.
So I had this dream. I'm sure Joe wouldn't want to either. So I had a dream the other day that you and I were hanging out at some. I woke up, I had to write it down. Hanging out at some place, having some kind of get together, and all of a sudden you walked by and you had a Budweiser in your hand, and you were drinking out of it like a bottle of beer, and you were just like looking around like nothing, like not like trying to hide it. You were just like, and I'm like, what the fuck? And I was like, what the fuck? Then I had this internal dialogue with myself about what I should do. Do I talk to you about it, or just leave it alone because you are an adult? It's not my problem. I'm not AA. I'm not. And then I woke up and I was like, wow. And I was upset. Then I was upset, and then was like, oh, it was a dream. Like, I was upset, like Shawn, like we just talked about David Harbour.
Relapsed.
You lost all those days.
Yeah.
Like, fuck. And I'm
I had
a dream.
I had a drinking dream last week, and it was like, I haven't had a drinking dream in a while.
Yeah.
But like even before, like I would wake up and be like, fuck, I have to start over.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'd be like, oh wait, no, I'm in my bed. I'm actually under the covers.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not still wearing my street clothes. You know, it was a dream. I knew because normally if I passed out, I wouldn't fucking pass out in my, you know, boxers. You know what I mean? Like, still be dressed with my shoes on.
Yeah.
But this dream, like, I woke up in the dream and was like, oh fuck, you know, I drank, and then continued to drink. So it was like my normal situation of like how I would like go through my processes in my head to know it was a dream. I did in the dream. So then I thought that I had, you know, I thought I woke up and was like, no, I did drink. I do have to start over because look, this is how I woke up in my bed, and then I continued to drink and just all this stuff, and it was fucking crazy. And then when I woke up, I'm like, fuck. I'm like, when did that happen? I'm like, how long have I fucking been out for? Because I'm like, that was a lot that fucking happened, and I don't remember fucking how much time has passed.
Yeah.
You know, I thought I really went on a fucking, and then I'm like, wait, it's fucking Saturday.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, I was like, that would have taken me like a week.
Yeah,
you know, to do that.
yeah.
So.
You would have been on a bender. Well, and that's what's funny. You know, we were talking about David Harbour doing the pot. And it was like, it's not. And Dax Shepard's like, no. He goes, Kristen Bell, Dax Shepard's wife. He goes, Kristen Bell laughs at me because he said, I can eat a whole bag of Halls. Because I have that addictive person.
Yeah.
I just got to eat every one. Like, and she's like, what do you do? I got to eat that.
Yeah.
And so David Harbour's like, oh my God, yeah, you are an addict. He goes, I know why we get along. Like, there's something about, you know, when they started.
If one works, then 10 is going to work really good.
When David Harbour mentioned, like, I'm in AA, then he was like, oh my God, like, I love you even more. Like, this is so great. So what I wanted at the end of that was for him to go, why don't you go to the meeting with me at 6? You want to go? Yeah, cool. You know, and then they hang out.
But like this guy that goes to my meetings, Rick, he's like, you know, a lot of people are like, hey, Rick, go get your green card. It's medical marijuana. You can get it. And he's like, but I can't. I have to stay away from it, even if it's legal. Because he's like, if I smoke, then I'm going to get thirsty.
Yeah.
And then, then I picked it up from there. I'm like, if I smoke, and I'm like, I don't even like to smoke, but if I smoke, then I'm going to get thirsty,
Mm-hmm.
then I'm going to stub my toe,
Yeah.
and then I'm going to need heroin.
Well,
because I'm like, because
that's
when
right,
you stub your toe,
yeah.
it really, really hurts.
Yeah.
And of course, I'm going to need heroin to fix that.
Yeah, no, that won't work. I
And
need
people
this.
are like, they love how I make that jump from like, oh, and then I'm
Well,
going to get thirsty, and then I need heroin.
And that's the thing where, there was, what was it? Oh, it was a thing that Mike shared today. I don't know when it was. I'm not on Facebook very much, but
I'm not
Mike
on at
Cook, our friend, he shared one. It was a guy and a girl. They're like walking by, and this other girl walks towards you. So the camera, she's walking toward camera. The couple's walking away. The guy looks back to check the girl out. Across the girl's chest, it says alcohol. It's just superimposed. And then him, it says me. It says me, and then it says alcohol, and then it says like the girl, whatever. Then the next one is, it says alcohol, drugs. Now he's with the girl, and it's alcohol and drugs, and now heroin walks by, and then it's like and then it's this whole like step down, like you said, like a whole process, and then but yeah, that's the thing with what was it? I don't know. With when people start to drink when you're young, not me, but when you're out with your friend, high school party. Oh yeah, give me a cigarette. I hear that's cool. Let me start, and then that's where you, for one,
you
get
find,
addicted to cigarettes.
With a lot of alcoholics, like when they drink and they get that feeling, then there's like, oh, this is what I've been missing, that social awkwardness that I always felt. Now I don't feel it because I there's just this thing that you feel with the alcohol and with that buzz.
But also it goes with the cigarettes. Like I remember Sergio.
Yeah, but even
Sergio would be drinking and then feel like, oh, I wish I had
that's
a cigarette.
just a thing that goes hand
I'm
in
just
hand
saying,
with
like
each other,
it could be where now you quit smoking for a while. Now all of a sudden you pick up a cigarette and then you go,
I quit smoking for 2 years, and then I went back to the car dealership.
Yeah.
And when we went out for drinks one night after a sale or whatever,
you and Gil Chauflin?
No, Gil wasn't there. It was on the used car lot. Right. The manager guy bought us drinks. Went into the bar, and then I'm like, oh, let me have a cigarette. And I'm like, oh, this is gross, blah blah blah. And I smoked maybe I smoked the whole cigarette. I think I smoked the whole cigarette, and then like the whole time I was like, oh, this is gross. And the next day it's like, yeah, give me one of those cigarettes. Yeah, give me a cigarette.
Yeah.
And then I was back to fucking smoking again.
Wow.
But now it's been 2 years that I quit smoking too.
Wow,
year and a
good.
half.
Well, congrats. Okay, so now I had came up with this thing for you for the show because, and I've talked about this before, but on my solo shows, I'm all over the map and I'm crazy. Part of me says that, like, one of the recent shows I did, it was called My Celluloid Heart, because back in the day I was going to call it My Celluloid Heart in the Kitchen Sink. So now I said, well, I love movies.
That was your production company too, wasn't it? Or
no, that was Common Goal Pictures. But
what was My Celluloid Heart? Because that's
My Celluloid Heart was when I first started the podcast. I was going to call it My Celluloid Heart in the Kitchen Sink, because then me and Joe and Shawn me and Joe and Sergio and you would talk about movies, and then we would talk about other things. Gotcha. So I was like, okay. Then I realized that's a big, long title. So then I changed it to It's Kind of Funny Story. Then I changed it to It's Kind of Funny Podcast. And now I've said, well, maybe on the side, kind of like side stories on last podcast, I'll do a My Celluloid Heart, and it'll just be about a movie or about a couple movies. So I did a thing on like old Hollywood and all that. But whenever I hear the old of Sergio and I'm like, kind of like you and I have it every once in a while. We get into this rhythm and we just go somewhere. And so I'm like, oh, wow, I want to get back to that, because some of these shows, they're, I'm like, would I listen if I'm just tuning in, if I'm like, what's this show about? So then I came up with, and then I forgot, where I said, hey, Shawn, why don't we do Google searches? Because I was doing a weird Google search, and I said, oh, that'll be funny. And you were like, okay. And then I forgot about it. And then I was like, you coming over? We're doing a podcast. And you were like, this was months ago or whatever. And you were like, yeah, and I got my Google searches. And I'm like, oh, shit. Yeah. So then I had to get all my Google searches. So here's mine. Shawn has some of his, but here's some of, I'm just going to go through things that I look up. Kevin Davis, Sword and Scale. He was some killer that was on Sword and Scale that I had to look up. In and Out Hours by me. It was just looking for hours. Walk Like an Egyptian video, because Sergio and I, on the podcast, we're talking
Let me
about...
get a pen and paper, because this is reminding me of some of them that I just recently looked.
Sergio brought up a thing on the video about Balls Deep in Florida. He talked about how some of the people look at him and they give him that look, and he goes, you know, like the girl from Bangles on the video, and I said, oh, that fucking girl, she's so hot. He goes, yeah, right?
Yeah,
and I'm like, yeah, with that fucking look. And so I had to look it up, because then I had to get a screenshot from it to put on Instagram for that look. Amber Tamblyn, because I forgot who she was. She's with somebody famous now.
Who is she?
Some actress. I forget. But Kathleen Peterson, back of head wound. I was watching this documentary on Netflix, and this girl fell and hit her head. So I wanted to look up that. So I looked up her head wound, and then I, did Kathleen Peterson death photos. Kathleen Peterson death. And then I looked up P.F. Chang's, although it wrote out OKD Chicago. Anyway, Tom Thumb's gas station, Paradise Valley Burger Company, which is really good. Okay. Then Andreoli, you can open that door if you want, but you don't have to. Andreoli Italian Restaurant. One-man podcast, because I was thinking about, I was looking for a logo just for a one-man podcast. Talking to the world. One guy talking on the world. I was looking for logos. One guy on microphone. I looked up Andrew WK, because I was seeing if he was still famous.
Is that anything like Andrew Dice Clay?
No, he was, he's like got the long hair, and he's like heavy. Like you'd know if you saw him. Like he was big in the late 90s, I think. Early 2000s. Then why is Tracy Ellis Ross eye bigger than the other? So she's this actress on Blackish who is Diana Ross's daughter in real life.
Okay.
And one of her eyes looks like a lazy eye, but it's just kind of weird. So I was like, what is that? And there's some disease for it. I looked up an X-Star EP9 because my friend bought one of those. Okay. How many pounds of pressure to rip off a dog's ear?
Okay.
Yeah. Well, because I like James Gunn, I like to say weird shit when we're watching a movie, and I'm like, I wonder how much power it would take to rip off Penelope's ear.
Right.
Our little chihuahua, just rip it. And Daniel's like, no. And I go, I bet it wouldn't take much pressure. And so I looked it up. It's like same pound of pressure, I think, for a human ear or something. And then I'm a loser, baby, so why don't you kill me lyrics? I don't know why I looked up that. Chip from Kate and Alley, because I needed to show my wife, because we were watching a movie with him in it now, and I said, here's who he used to be, the little redhead kid. The Golden Child, Eddie Murphy with headphones, because I was looking for... He's listening to our podcast of us doing Golden Child commentary. You should listen to our podcast. And then Jack Benny's net worth. Can you use Windex on car tint? You cannot use Windex on car tint because it affects... So this girl at work, that's what I thought. This girl at work, one of the, at the hotel I'm doing security at, and she goes, she's the front desk girl, and she goes, she has this brand new Camaro, and she's like, oh yeah, the guy who put on the tint told me not to use Windex on it. And I go, but Windex cleans your windows. She goes, yeah, that's what I thought, but I remember him telling me specifically, do not use Windex. I said, really?
Can you use a different type of window cleaner?
Yeah, you can use like soap and water or any other thing. But Windex has like ammonia, has something in it that will start to eat at that.
Really?
At the plastic tint.
Interesting.
So I was like, oh, wow. I said, well, I just learned something, and here's why you can't do that.
Wow.
And she's like, oh, okay.
I wonder if there's other types of glass cleaner that you can use then that are, that don't have the ammonia in it, or if it's an aerosol can, or
I would think, or you could
or
you could just put soap and water in a thing, but I mean
that.
Windex works really good.
Yeah.
But and then let's see, and then I guess that's all. I did that twice. Okay, so that's mine. So what do you got?
God, I haven't really.
Oh yeah, and then I have a thing on buried penises that I also learned about.
Okay, I've looked up a lot of work stuff because I'm working a job where I'm not real familiar with the product. So, Nature's Variety, Honest Kitchen,
Is that brands?
These are all
That's-
brands,
okay.
yeah, brands of.
And do
of,
people call you to ask? Is that
Yeah,
why you
yeah,
need to
because it's
go?
like and it's not like it's people who own retail places, and they're like, yeah, I need, I need the instinct in the black bag. I'm
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I'm like, oh, hold on, 'cause I'm like, I don't work with the products.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, you're like, I have
Yeah.
a screen in front of me with
So,
words.
yeah.
I have no pictures.
So that
Yeah,
I'm like,
I'm not
I'm like,
Amazon.
well, hold
Yeah.
on. And like one of the people at work was like, oh, I pulled up their website. I'm like, oh, that's a good idea. So I'm
Mhm.
just like, okay, I'm looking at the website and it says here that this one is grain free and this is the ingredients. And I
Yeah.
want to be like, why aren't you using Google?
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
that's what I'm doing.
yeah,
You know?
exactly.
I don't have a special line into the fucking company that does this.
Yeah,
Um,
Burt Ward has makes a healthy food, like made of real, like, better food than, so they say,
Mhm.
but I forget the name of it. But anyway, go ahead.
I looked up who was the pig killer guy, the Canadian.
Picton.
Picton. I looked
Robert
him up.
Picton.
Yeah, I looked him up. Looked up some of this stuff. Xtar.
Mhm.
Looked up that because I just got that gun. Tick removal. I looked up. That was the most recent search.
Oh,
How
that
to
was when
remove
you were
that tick from
for
that dog.
Yeah, yeah.
I wrote this one down. I can't even read my own fucking writing.
Mm.
What I just fucking wrote
It was
down.
when I was reading about. What was I reading about? Damn it! My computer keeps. Why does it keep doing this? I don't know why.
Look it up on Google.
Um,
Why does my computer keep going?
Um,
Porn. Prone bone.
what's that?
Where like the girl's laying down on her stomach,
Uh-huh.
like all the way laying, like she's prone.
And then you get
And then
behind
you're
her,
on
on top of her.
Yeah, like
Okay.
on top of her, behind her, so it's like doggy, but she's laying down. That's
Right.
called prone. And yeah, and then just different adult actress names, video game stuff. Destiny, like so there's new games coming out, Anthem, stuff like that. But that's about it.
That's weird.
Different stuff on YouTube, like how to zero a rifle scope. One of the other things I looked up, like I was searching for a long time on, I bought one of those new red dots, or a red dot, the Aimpoint T2 red dot, so I had like days of nothing but searching those. But that's about it.
I was saying, Walk Like an Egyptian video and Kathleen
God, when
Peterson.
she has that, I know what look you're
But,
talking about too,
yeah.
and in the
Yeah,
video
it's
it's
that
all, looks out, and it's just like, oh,
Yeah,
boing,
and she
boing.
got like her lips and her
Yeah.
mouth. Yeah.
And she was in that movie, All Nighter.
Oh, was she?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know
Yep.
that. I remember, like,
Bad.
she was like, the other girls were okay, but she was like the
Mhm.
best.
Look
at
up
that.
All Nighter. She was the. What the
Nice.
fuck is that?
My
God damn it.
Yeah, for some
Unprofessional.
reason, my I don't know what just happened. That was my TV coming on. The monitor just was fuzzy, and I don't know why, because I haven't messed with any of this, but it'll come back on in a minute, I hope. So Danielle is is working at the hospital. She's not a nurse yet, but come on, and
Buried penis, like buried alive.
like it's like she there was this old guy. I can get it in the hole. Think about that girl from Bengals. She does like patient care tech until
Over
she
the
becomes
pants
a
hand
nurse.
job.
So that's right.
OTP is shit.
No, that's Sandy. And
Yeah.
so then she is she went, and this guy, I forget what was wrong with him, but they're either trying to do a catheter or trying to do something, and she's like, and I couldn't find it, so I didn't know what was going on. And she's like, and I was freaked out, like, what the heck? So we're talking about this when we're at Easter or whatever at the parents. And so I'm like, well, let's look it up. And what's funny with her parents are that they're really kind of like, especially her mom is like, one time we had a discussion about chickens during maybe Christmas or something. And Nikki, my sister-in-law, was like, oh, yeah, chicken, it's like a dead baby chicken, when you open it. And I said, no, actually, those are not fertilized. Those are chickens just put out eggs like crazy. You have to fertilize it for it to be a chicken. I said, I learned it on a podcast, Joe Rogan, boom. Like Shawn on that one Christmas when we were at his parents talking about it, his aunt lost her egg in her pussy.
What? What did I do?
Your
Oh my God.
your mom was what the hell? This thing's all weird.
I was saying this stuff,
No,
or my mom
so,
was?
No. So your mom, we were there. Your uncle, Mike, was like, because I was talking about how I used to work at Casa Boutique. And he was like,
okay, I don't wanna
Casa
know,
Boutique.
whatever,
And then he talked about they had the egg without the cord on it. It was the
gotcha,
Bluetooth.
yeah, whatever.
But he put it in there and it disappeared. And she was like, get it out. And he goes, then it totally went non-sexual. Now he's got the little headlamp and he's trying to get in there. And he's like, is that it? Is that it? And she's like, get it out of me. I was like, oh my God.
I think I was probably drunk.
So, yeah, probably. But yeah, it was hilarious.
That's fucking hilarious.
But the buried penis, also known as a hidden penis, is a congenital or acquired condition in which the penis is partially or completely hidden below the surface of the skin. It can lead to obstruction of urinary stream, poor hygiene, soft tissue infection, phimosis, and inhibition of normal sexual function. So I was like, oh shit, I gotta tell that on the podcast. So yeah, it was just weird.
That reminds me, another thing that I had looked up, and I was like, what the fuck is this? Incels.
Oh yeah,
involuntary celibates.
Yeah.
So these
that
back
say
to the social
because
justice,
of the women,
because of the women, fucking blah blah blah. I can't have, and it's just like, what? And it's just like,
yeah. It's like
just because you're fucking socially awkward, or you know,
because you're a nerd or whatever you want to call it, because you're like we were in school.
Yeah. And you didn't get over it. Now you're blaming it. Grow the fuck up.
Yeah, now you're shaming these other women who now are supposed to go, what, I'll sleep with you, okay, and now you're going to feel better because she gave you a, pity fuck or whatever.
Right.
Like, yeah. It's crazy.
No, I don't know. Whatever. And do they become anti-incel? Like, what if a girl finally goes up to him and is like, hey, this is, blah, blah, blah. Are they then, did we used to be incels, and now that we're not, now we're like, fuck you, just go out there and get a life.
Well, that's what's funny is they talk about bullying, and there's bullying that's extreme. I never had extreme bullying, but it's like that's who makes us who we are. All of us nerds or us whatever. But from what you said, from when you were in school, though, you were like, that kid's being picked on. You weren't the nerd. You were like, it was like My Bodyguard. You were that guy. You were like, I'm going to save that kid. And you went and
it happened to like only one or two kids.
I know, but let's live on that for a while.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, here's something that might bring a smile to your face. Pregnant goat dies after 8 men gang rape it in Haryana.
Good for the goat.
I know, right?
I hope it jumped off a fucking cliff.
8 men have been accused of raping a pregnant goat, after which the animal died. The incident took place in Haryana's Mowat district. The goat's owner registered a police complaint on July 26th. Motherfucker, why is this computer... Now my computer cut. Okay, here we are. Okay. On 26th, after he found the goat missing, and while searching for it, reached the site of the incident. I guess there was bukkake all around on the floor, and he's like, gross. He's like, was Joe's daughter here? According to the police, that's a taken story. According to the police, all accused are absconding, or medical examination of the dead goat will be conducted to further investigate the case. Aslu, the goat owner, and there's a picture of him like, look, here's a police report, motherfucker, alleging that his goat was gang raped on the night of July 25th by men named Skavgar, Harun, Jafar, and Jafar. I'll get you, Aladdin, and 5 others whose identities are yet to be ascertained. And then
the station in charge. Is this guy just pissed off with these people, so he's gonna fucking accuse them of fucking raping a goat?
And what I wish that they would have went into, although I'm sure a lot of people don't want to be grossed out by, is how does he know it was gang raped?
Mm-hmm.
Like, was it
how
bleeding?
do they know it wasn't consensual?
Was there semen all around? Exactly. Yeah, it could have been a whatchamacallit, a non-incel goat.
See, but now it's like, do these people have to then subject themselves to fucking going and getting this testing done and all this stuff? And
right, well, yeah.
And if it turns out, to me, it's like, okay, yeah, you can accuse them of this, and if they're guilty, then we'll try them.
Yeah.
If not, You're breaking things.
I know. Well, it's
Then,
okay. Go ahead.
Then you're going to be charged for, the tests.
Right,
Or,
yeah.
but then is that fair? Because then it's like, well, if they can't prove it beyond a reasonable doubt, I don't.
Yeah, and thing and all that.
Yeah,
and,
poor Jafar is never going to be able to get a job at the fucking goat factory anymore.
Exactly. That's where he needs to go to work.
Dude, we sell so much fucking goat's milk.
Yeah?
It's ridiculous.
Goat's milk's good shit.
Yeah, we sell the
I used to have
shit
at
out of it.
My uncle's.
And it's unpasteurized and all this stuff because it's for
wow.
dogs, so they don't have to process and all this stuff. I'm sure a lot of people fucking get it for themselves, but it's frozen. Like, one store today ordered 32-ounce fucking things of it.
Wow.
And it's just like, holy shit. Like, this one lady down in fucking Tubac gets like fucking, they come in half gallons.
Mm-hmm.
She gets like fucking 30 of them a week.
Gee,
It's like,
how many dogs does she have?
she's selling it. She
Right.
has a retail
Okay.
place of it, but it's
okay.
like, I'm like, we need to fucking get some goats.
Yeah.
Like, we need to fucking start milking these fuckers.
Exactly. This is pair high on bath salts fired gun at fireflies, mistaking them for alien lasers.
Good.
Yeah. And it's a funny story because the
Because
troopers
they were
say
aliens.
30-year-old, I know, that'd be awesome. 30-year-old Jesse Shields and 22-year-old Catherine McCloskey were high on bath salts in a bizarre chain of events early Saturday morning. According to the investigator, the pair in Clinton County had a bad trip and thought the fireflies were green lasers coming from aliens who were after them. State police say they fired the revolver in the air to scare away the lasers and then ran to the nearby home at Long Run Road in Lamar Township, where he asked the owner to call the cops because something was chasing them. While the person was on the phone with 911, Shields allegedly broke a window before he left the home and then went to the next-door neighbors and he broke another window. State police say the owner of that house was able to get the gun from Shields, who asked if he could take a shower to get the goo off of his body because it was burning his skin. Shields and McCloskey are both facing a slew of charges, including burglary, criminal trespass, public intoxication, disorderly conduct. They were both unable to post bail, of course, and taken to the prison. So, yeah, that's...
Drugs are bad.
Yeah, exactly. The, and then there's this one is just weird. Oklahoma woman stabbed daughter up to 70 times and then set the house on fire.
Good for her. Covering her tracks.
She's 39 years old and she has like an 8-year-old and a 7-year-old or whatever. So the 11-year-old she stabbed like up to 70 times and then grabbed a pickaxe, started striking her in the head, and then went and set the house on fire and left the girl in there. And luckily, somebody called the police and the police came and saved the girl. But the girl was in remained in critical condition. According to a arrest report, Ahmad told investigators she was upset with her children because the way they were reading and looking at her. Police said Ahmed bound and gagged her 3 daughters, then attacked the eldest. Police have not said what the girls were reading. This is why sometimes I think these are just made up, but it says Fox, but yeah. The 8-year-old girl helped her 9-year-old sister escape, and the middle child ran to the neighbor to get police. When officers arrived, they found the 11-year-old girl in the burning home and Ahmed and the youngest child missing. The arrest report said the oldest girl fought back while Ahmed was restraining her 3 daughters, which prompted Ahmed to stab her an estimated 50 to 70 times. The report said Ahmed also struck the girl over the head several times with a pickaxe before setting the house on fire. The 11-year-old had dozens of stab wounds on her torso and puncture wounds on her leg, neck, hands, and face. Residents further ensure the 11-year-old was dead. So Ahmed wanted to burn down the residence to, quote-unquote, further ensure the 11-year-old was dead.
And she lived through all this shit?
Yeah.
It
Could
must
you
not have been
imagine,
very
like,
fucking deep.
your mom,
that
was your
girl
mom.
can do all the drugs she wants when
Yeah.
she goes home.
Exactly. Exactly. And then this, I think, was you. Shawn arrested for attempting to barbecue child molesters. Porto Sierra's plan to burn and kill sex offenders was thwarted when police arrived too soon. So this guy sounds like he was on drugs or he was dealing with something in his head where then he just went after him. But so
Where do you find him?
he went to a hotel. I guess you go to a hotel. So
There's a child molester hotel.
he planned to barbecue all the quote unquote barbecue all the child molesters and kill them. Is now in jail. 50-year-old Porto Sierra was trying to kill sex offenders and
He's
set them
made
on
it
fire.
to 50. That's
Yeah,
what I don't get.
exactly.
He fucking finally snaps at 50.
Oh, this is why he went to the Friendly Village Inn and Motel. So maybe that's it seems child friendly. In Kissimmee, Florida, an Ocala County detective said the man admitted his plan, and he was now being charged with 4 counts of attempted premeditated murder. Now, here's what's funny. According to the police report, a man was standing outside the room when Porto Sierra jumped out of his car and began screaming at the individual. Terrified, the man ran back into his room, prompting Porto Sierra to break one motel's windows and pour gasoline inside. The enraged Porto Sierra also reportedly yelled, "You're gonna die, child molester! I'm coming in!" Meanwhile, the man and his roommate escaped through the back window.
The roommate was a 4-year-old child.
It might be funny. As he helped the little boy out the window. In addition, Porto Sierra allegedly attacked 2 other individuals inside a car in the hotel parking lot. First by pouring gasoline into the car through an open window.
Oh my
Then
God.
the driver attempted to flee. Porto Sierra got into his black Ford Focus and started ramming their car. Deputies then arrived on the scene, where they say Porto Sierra surrendered right away. Waiving his Miranda rights, Porto Sierra confessed and told the authorities they raped kids, they are child molesters, and they live here and deserve to die. I think you watch that show on Netflix called Pervert Park, and it's where all these child molesters live in this like trailer park.
Wow. Well, burn down the trailer parks then. Jesus.
Ocala County is known for being a sex offender haven, as it isn't in the restricted range of schools, playgrounds, or churches, and there is a history of registered sex offenders living at the Friendly Village Inn Motel.
Oh, okay. Makes sense then.
Police asked why he didn't follow through with his plan. Porto Sierra responded, "Because you got here too soon." He is currently in custody.
Good.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's end it with you watching the new Venom trailer.
All right. Oh, you want me to watch it now?
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
Not on your phone.
Oh, not on my phone on here.
No,
on this
God.
computer machine.
On a fucking
machine
monitor.
thing.
That
All
you're
right,
gonna
I guess
watch
so.
that.
Huh?
Jesus.
All right. Very sorry, sir. I'm trying to. I got production values here. I was gonna play some sound, because then they can hear the sound. But
yeah, that's okay. Everybody
that's
else
fine.
can. We'll do the countdown. It'll be on 1.
Well, it's okay. Venom trailer
3.
Oh, it's 3. Okay. Is that it? What's the day? 1 day ago.
Yeah.
Okay.
I can't hear it. Oh wait, I can.
Hang on. I think we're hearing that, but I don't think
I
they'll
know
hear
they
it.
can't.
Yeah.
I didn't think I'd be
Oops.
able to hear it.
Right. The bridge.
I'm Eddie Brock. I'm a reporter. I always seem to find myself questioning something the government may not be looking at. I found something really bad. And I have been... Eddie. Who said that? Taken. Look around at the world. What do you see? A planet on the brink of collapse. Human beings are disposable. But man and symbiote combined. This is the new race, the new species. The higher life form. What do you want from me? You'll find out. I'm so sorry. We cannot just hurt people.
Cool.
That power, it's not completely awful.
You have no idea how much you're scaring me right now.
Eddie, cooperate. And you just might survive. Guys, you do not want to do this, trust me. Giant leaps will always come at a cost.
Whoa. Wow. All right.
There's another good part.
We will eat both your arms and then both of your legs, and then we will eat your face right up your head. You will be this armless, legless, faceless thing, won't you? Rolling down the street like a bird in the wind. What the hell are you? We are Venom. Oh, I have a parasite. Yeah. Name is Chen.
Wow. Wow.
Did
yeah.
you still like? Yeah,
No,
whatever.
no, it was better than the one before. I think it was because before I didn't like the things that were like he was all stretchy and stuff, but he's it's weird. Like, okay, I can understand the pokey stick with Loki, and everything's fine with Iron Man shooting lasers,
Right.
and Doctor Strange manipulating stuff, and Spider-Man shooting webs. But then I'm like, oh wait a minute, this guy can do this.
Yeah.
So no,
I don't know. Venom. I'm excited.
I think
about
there's
it.
a couple things. Being as, for one, that now Marvel owns, like Spider-Man or co-owns, but I think they're trying to buy Sony and they're trying to buy Fox so that they can
this
do
this
like
is a
Fantastic
completely
Four.
different universe.
No, but it
than,
had the Marvel logo on it.
right,
So just like
In
Spider-Man
association or
does.
whatever, right.
Right.
But like Venom doesn't have the Spider-Man logo on it. This Venom doesn't have the Spider-Man on his chest.
Oh, I
He's
see.
gonna be they're
I
making
see.
it.
Oh, okay.
Like I think they said that like the Spider-Man is potentially going to be in this or something, or like it's rumored that the guy that plays Spider-Man is in it. But they're what there is rumored is that they're trying to make this its own separate thing.
Because then I was gonna say if they did do that, then oh my God, like what a fight between Spider-Man and him, and then if the symbiote then attaches to Peter,
Well,
like
and
you
what
do
was
that
those
whole
things
thing.
at the there's a thing with like the giant fucking blades for the arms. It looked like there was
The
symbiotes
girl
that were fighting each
or
other.
the big thing.
That big thing, because it looked like there was symbiotes fighting each other.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
so I don't
that's
know if
what I
that's-
think I heard about somebody saying like there's more because you saw that one guy that got attacked by the symbiote, but maybe he rejects it.
Right.
So maybe only certain people can host
I
it.
don't know. It'll be interesting.
But
I'm
it'll be
excited for it
interesting
'cause-
also if Eddie can fight it or if pretty soon he's just
Well, and I
taken
think
over
they
by
say again, it's speculation that they're coming to an agreement.
Yeah.
Through it, and then the part on it
that's
where
what
they're
it says
saying
it's
we
not-
are Venom is
Yeah.
that's when they know that they're a team or whatever. And apparently the Venom voice is Tom Hardy also
Oh, cool.
doing that voice, and then they record it and play it over.
Oh, yeah.
Play it over that, but that's his voice doing
That's
like his
cool.
Batman voice
Yeah,
or
yeah,
whatever.
Where are the detonators? Yeah.
So, but yeah, no, I'm excited about it. And then, like that part, it looked like he get hit by a car and was all fucked up, and then the symbiote was fixing him.
Fix his legs.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and then somebody else was bringing up those movie guys podcast. He said, "Well, if he eats a person, does that go into Tom Hardy? Like,
Yeah.
is Tom Hardy like, I just ate a guy's face? You know, like, yeah, it's weird."
Yeah, but apparently they say that like there's a few times where they decapitate people by eating their head off.
Oh wow, cool.
So.
Okay, next time. That was our show for this week, by the way.
Next
join
time?
us,
Charles
next
in
time.
Charge.
That's right. And I have here's a plot for you. So, Charles in Charge. The pilot episode came out October 3rd, 1984. The plot of the first episode is Charles has his hands full as he tries to entertain
because
his
they're down the pants
dream
of
girl,
fucking
Gwendolyn. Yeah, well, she wasn't on yet, but yeah,
Wow.
that's the other thing. Social Warriors. So Nicole Eggert and Scott Baio were friends, like all these years after the show. Like, she would come over to the house, like him and his wife would, everything was fine. And then all of a sudden she's like, wait a minute, I was molested. I'm going to bring this up. And it was like she was fine with it when Scott Baio fingered her when she was 17. Now she's going, I was fingered when I was 17 by Scott Baio, who was 26 or whatever.
Wow, okay.
So that's what came out. But Charles has his hands full as he tries to entertain his dream girl, Gwendolyn, which I loved her for some reason back then, who has come over for a date while also maintaining order in the house. So he has to maintain order while trying to date. And, so when that came out, you were 9 because you hadn't turned, in 9 days you would have been 10.
Mm-hmm.
And I was 13. So, yeah. And then the show was off the air from 85 until 87. Then that's when Nicole Eggert and them came back on. So, yeah. But anyway, so yeah, we'll be doing that.
Awesome.
Yep, very.
All right,
But
well, fix your
join
electronics.
us this fucking thing. Join us next time. Well, I now got to get to it to stop it. Here we are. Join us next time when I guess Shawn joins me in 2 weeks. And that's it. So until next time, I'm Phillip.
I'm Shawn.
And have a good day. And leave us with an AA thing. Joe always says I'm gay for doing all my stuff. I did the Bill and Ted usually, but what do you got? You got something? One of those signs. One of those signs that you. If you don't work it, it won't work itself.
Just work.
Just go to work. But what if I want to drink?
Good night, Phillip.
All right.
Can you really deep throw balloons? Do pregnant strippers make us swoon?